Hello there, this is Daniele from Toolchefs and welcome to this new video. In this video I'm going to show you new ways that you can use for randomizing the overrides of your agents that have been introduced in Atoms VFX 5.2. So just to have a little bit of a recap of what we could do previously. So for each module attribute you could set a value that would be like a global value that would be applied to all the agents. If you wanted to override that per agent, you could open the override dialog and then either select some agents and set values manually, or you could use a range like this. Let me actually show the state metadata, so I've already set it up here. So this was, of course, great, but there were some limitations. Like for instance, in this case, let's say we wanted to randomize the states between 0 and 3, but we didn't want to use a state 2. So this wasn't possible because, of course, the range randomization would always pick 2 in some cases, like it did there. So to solve this problem, we added this new list randomization. So you can, provide values here. So 1 and 3, and then click randomize. Let me actually select all my agents here. This. So now we see that we don't get 2 because, of course, 2 is not in the list. So this is basically the first thing that we have added. If you close the override dialog and then you open it again, we'll see that basically both the range and the list got basically to their default state. So in the case of the list, basically the list is empty. If you want to fill it again using the values that you have used previously for randomizing the overrides, you can go under edit and then click on init random values. And this will both fill the list but also set the range to 0 and 3. So 3 is the maximum value while 0 is the minimum. We've also added a new utility in this override dialog, which is the fill override values. So if you click on this one, the values, the overrides, so the missing overrides will actually be filled using the values that you have previously used. In the case of integers, doubles, and so on, this will actually use the range randomization. So in case you're looking into set specific values, I would recommend initializing the list and then randomizing the missing overrides by using the list randomization mode. So this is the first thing that we have done. So we have improved the override dialog. This gives you more flexibility, but of course it's always tedious to go in the override dialog and change the values per agent. We still want to have this flexibility because if you want really to have a specific value for an agent, you can still come here and change it. So I'm gonna just clear for a second all the overrides. Also gonna clear the selection, and then I'm gonna come back here. So as you see here, we have this new button here. When the button is with this circle here, it means that we're using a single value, which is the value that here is basically provided here for the state. If you click on the button, we see we have a range, and also we see a seed here. So the display, of course, of the attributes is not great, but this is basically what Houdini allows us to do. So here we see the default value is disabled. This is the seed, so we can change the seed, and also we can change the minimum and maximum for the range. So let's say if we do 0 and 3, we can also change the seed. So this will actually change the distribution of the randomization. This randomization, of course, is deterministic. So if you reopen your scene, your agents will still have the same randomization. So of course, don't worry about that. And also we can use a list. So in the case of the list, it's the same thing that you can do in the override dialog. But here, for instance, you can say 0, 1, and 2. So we see here we're using 0, 1, and 2. Actually, let's use 3 because, like before, we don't want to use 2. And then we can change the randomization. Again, here we're changing the seed. So this, of course, is great. But in case you still want to change the values by using, the overrides, so if you want to have like the fine control on your agent, you can always open the override dialog and set the values manually or with randomization and so on. So one thing, the supported variable types for the module types that will let you use this randomization are Boolean, integers, doubles, vector 2, vector 3, vector 4, matrix, and string. So for string, of course, we don't have the range randomization because of course a string is just basically it's not a number, And then for matrices, we don't have the list randomization. But other than that, all the other attributes can all both do the range and the list. This new workflow, of course, is great because not only you're able to, randomize the value, Atoms basically will randomize the values for you automatically. But let's say, for instance, if you add new agents, so if I go in the layout here and say, oh, now I want 20 agents, we see here we now have 10 new agents, but they have the state being set by the state machine module using the list. So they're not basically to the default at 0, which basically what happened with the previous version of Atoms, and then you'd have to open the override dialog and set the values for those new agents. But actually Atoms is randomizing the state for you straight away as soon as the agents are created. This is also great for a workflow where basically you can use the variation module to set like the list randomization and then set all the variations that you want to use there. And then for every new agent that you create, you don't have to open again the variation randomizer and then randomize your variations, but actually you can basically Atom will do the randomization for you straight away. And this is all for this video. Thanks for watching.